Hey guys, this is Dr. Hub. In case you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe for updates. Dural venous sinuses. So the first one being the unpaired sinus. So you have the unpaired sinus. So the first one is the superior sagittal sinus. So we are short writing it as SSS. Superior sagittal sinus. It confluence of the sinuses, or it continues as a right transverse sinus. So this is the superior sagittal sinus, continues as the right transverse sinus. Next is the inferior sagittal sinus, ISS. This is nothing but it joins the greater cerebral vein. So joins the great cerebral vein to form the straight sinus. Then comes the straight sinus. So what is the use of the straight sinus? It forms the left transverse sinus. So forms the left transverse sinus. Then comes occipital. The occipital sinuses, it confluence of the sinuses. This is the occipital sinus. The straight sinus, it forms a left transverse sinus. The superior sagittal sinus, it transferred as a right transverse sinus. The inferior sagittal sinus, it joins the great cerebral vein to form the straight sinus. So next we look at the paired sinuses. What is meant by paired sinuses? Paired sinuses, there is a superior petrosal sinus. Superior petrosal sinus is nothing but it drains into as the transverse sinus. So it is a transverse sinus. Next comes the inferior petrosal sinus. Inferior petrosal sinus. So inferior petrosal sinus, it drains into the internal jugular vein. So superior petrosal sinus is a transverse sinus. Inferior petrosal is a internal jugular. So I for I. Then comes the transverse sinus. So transverse sinus is nothing but it continues as the sigmoid sinuses. Then comes the sigmoid sinus. The sigmoid sinus is it continues with the internal jugular vein. So the superior petrosal is transverse, inferior jugular. The transverse is the sigmoid. The sigmoid is continues as the internal jugular vein. Then comes the cavernous sinus. Cavernous sinus, if you see, it is the superior and inferior petrosal sinus. Inferior petrosal sinus. To learn and grow daily like this, please do subscribe.